further discussion wants to consider taking the override off, at that point I'll consider it. But I think this is something we should be doing anyway.
Just
I
looking,
mean, I don't think this is, I think if you make the motion that the Board of Selectmen support negotiating for higher co-pays, right? The vote's 5-0. If you make a motion that says, let's use the money that we don't have, I don't think you're gonna get 5-0. I can't vote for using money we don't have. Now, if you think you can negotiate these contracts by July, I think they should be negotiated, absolutely. I support the idea 150%. If you think you can negotiate them by July, then the money's available to us in October. It's a great idea.
Well,
Let's
how
negotiate.
about if I make a motion that says, that we have this negotiated by Memorial Day, because the school department has to give out layoff notices.
That's
And
fine.
then if
Make
it
the
is,
motion. I
you know,
insert it.
effective, for July 1st, so that we'll have these funds available in the next fiscal year.
Steve, just to clarify,
You can negotiate
just,
the contract by May 1st.
just to
Okay,
straighten
that's fine,
something
but
out, okay? First of all, we're talking about additional money into the school
Right.
budget, we're not
We're
talking
not
about layoffs.
We're not talking, right, we're not talking about
So,
layoffs. We're talking about
yeah,
not
school
filling
starts in
positions.
September.
Right.
And a lot of the hiring is done, the changes take place in August.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is why I don't think we're spending, Steve's proposal doesn't mean we're spending money before we have it.
We're putting in the budget before we have
We're putting it in the budget.
it. Same thing to me.
same thing.
It's not quite the same
Well,
thing.
to me it is. To me it is, Bob. Respectfully, it is.
You don't have it, you don't spend it.
Let's negotiate
Not
it, then
changing
we'll
my
have it.
position.
Let's negotiate it, then we have it.
Well,
Absolutely.
out of curiosity, what would be affected by the $67,000? What would we specifically?
What I was
could we-
suggesting, and again, what I was suggesting was taking the $67,000 out of the salary pool, so that then provides the administration the latitude to cut back time, or positions, or cherry pick what he has to do in order to make it work. Again, part of what's included in that salary pool is our negotiated salary increases, but obviously, in order to effectuate the change, it would mean positions and hours. It just would give him the latitude to decide how to best divvy it up. That's all. And the other part of my proposal was to put it in the reserve account, so that if we were successful in our negotiations, it could be moved back to the salary account and effectively have no change on our proposal. But if you don't like that, I'm open to suggestions as to how to get back in there.
Is this a motion?
No, he hasn't made a motion.
Discussion.
I think what Steve is trying to find out is how much support he has for it. It makes no sense to make a motion if,
Doesn't affect anything.
Once we take the 67,000
Michael,
out,
speak up a little bit.
Michael,
once we take it out, if we don't get the expected result, I'm
Then
still a
we're
little
short
bit-
$67,000.
Then you say you short
Bottom line right now
$67,000.
is spending it
And
without.
if you're, the other thing is if you don't want to
I'll
put
let
it in the
them
reserve
run it.
account, you just want to cut it, I'm fine with that, because you can always restore it in October
He's trying
and
to
still
convince
carry
me.
on.
I know.
Because you're less than a quarter into the year, the fiscal year, so that you wouldn't have to, if we're successful by the beginning of the new fiscal year, if you're successful by the new fiscal year, you could just go about your business.
Can we move this to a vote, or, I mean, I think it's been discussed pretty well, and it's not the first time we've discussed it, we've discussed this at least, I don't know, 6 or 7 times.
When?
Oh, we discussed it when it was $300,000, then we get the money, and now it's $200,000. We discussed it over and over again, it was one of the slides, we discussed it everywhere, okay? And nobody disagrees with the idea, nobody, except that it's not real money. And until it's real money, I can't see spending it. I don't think that's, I don't know, I'm a CPA. I'm a CPA.
I'm not
That's
saying
pretty-
I'm not saying
pretty
spend it.
solid- That's pretty solid accounting, pretty solid budgeting. We've got money.
Then you
we
don't
spend money.
understand. No, then you really don't understand it.
I do understand.
You don't have a clear
Oh, don't
understanding as
tell
to
me
how it
again.
works.
Oh, hey guys, come on now, let's not.
I didn't know anything.
I'm glad the two of you sit the
Me
audience.
too. Me too.
Why don't we put them down here and put a little gate around here?
Yeah.
Got my packet, my pen, and my brass
Let's
knuckles.
move it.
Well, first
I
of
don't
all,
think
the
he has
good
the
news,
three
Bill,
feet.
the good news is, tonight we have to make the final decision,
Right,
right?
well, let's go.
Okay.
I'm ready.
The whole board majority voted to open this up for discussion and final ideas, okay? And Steve has proposed two of them, one of which I gather hasn't got enough traction to get much further, based on what I'm hearing. The second one was related to, should we have in the override question some of these restorations that we put in?
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question before we move forward. If we didn't do this now, and we move forward with the all right, this is if we don't get an override. If the override is voted down, and we negotiate this change later on in the year, and we decided to put the money into the school system, how fast could
We'd
we
have to
affect the
call for a
change?
special town meeting.
But would we be able to affect the change during the school year?
Yeah.
Or would we have to wait till next year to do it?
Mr. Bill O'Connor?
Just to answer Selectman Harris's question specifically about the time frame. Any changes to our existing plan needs to be completed by the 31st of May. That's an absolute deadline, so we would have to decide prior to that date. The vote to transfer funds could obviously take place at any time thereafter, but we have a hard deadline of May 31st.
May 31st?
So that's the signing of the contract, which goes into effect on August 1st?
That's right.
So in effect, we wouldn't be able to hire teachers halfway through the year and put
No,
the
no, no,
classes
what he's
in?
saying is that from,
Oh, I guess I didn't understand that,
if
sorry.
he doesn't, if we don't have a negotiated
Mhm.
change in the contract with the unions by that date, then the contract is signed for a year.
Correct.
Mhm.
So in Steve's proposal, if Greg was unsuccessful in negotiating the change in the co-pays, right, then there would be a shortfall of $70,000 in the town budget, right? Which would mean, because it's in the, taken out of the salary pool, as he proposed it, it would mean that the town administrator would have to make salary adjustments, whether it's reduction in hours or layoffs or whatever,
No,
to cover that cost. On the school side, since it's new hiring,
Mhm.
right, they would have to react to it by not spending
Oh, what,
the $133,000.
my question was, if we got this money later on in the year, would we be able to hire new teachers?
Yes,
Mr.
we have
Webster, I
a
think,
special,
would
we
be
have
able
a
to answer.
special town meeting, you can allocate the money and the money can be spent.
And we could hire the new teachers halfway through the year and put the
You could hire
programs in
teachers
place
halfway
then?
through the year, absolutely.
Mel,
That was the
answer
question.
Michael's question.
Basically, what you're looking for in level 3, where I think we're talking one teacher in there, which is a phys ed teacher at the
Yeah,
high
I think
school.
so.
The other positions,
There were 5 full-time
right,
equivalents.
but the
full-time.
paraprofessional positions, computer positions, librarian, my belief is, since those aren't new programs, and even the phys ed teacher, phys ed teacher would be more difficult, but the other ones you could bring into the school after school started. It's not optimal. Obviously, you want to
Yeah.
have the labs open 5 days a week from the first day. But my guess is you'd be able to work around that schedule. It would make things more difficult, but you could do that.
So even though it's not optimal, I think that would be my kind of favorite thing to do, because I still don't like the idea of spending, I know it's not really money that we don't have, but, I don't know, I just don't like the idea. Sorry.
Let's,
Mrs. Bailey, Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Bailey and Mrs. Campbell.
This is Bill.
I just wanted to get a comment here, since the issue seems to be around spending money that may not be realized yet. Could there be an agreement in the form of a vote tonight by the board that if indeed the town administrator is successful in negotiating the increased co-pay and thus reduced insurance costs with the town employee, that the board will bring forth either to October town meeting, or if there's a special town meeting regarding the
Wastewater.
beforehand, perhaps in the summer, perhaps between, May 31st and July 1st, if it happens, then bring forth allocating those dollars then. And if the board could agree on that, then the school committee would also have some direction if the 200,000 were realized. So perhaps
as I've said, I like the idea of a special town meeting. I think that's a good
I
answer.
like that
I'm in
idea.
favor of that. That's real money. We got real money. Let's negotiate. Let's start.
I have no problem with that.
Do we have a,
I would be willing to look at that scenario.
Great idea.
I'm not saying what I would do yet, but
There's nothing
I
to vote on,
certainly would
right?
be
You
willing
just
to
want
look at it.
consensus.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I move that any realized savings for the negotiations with the town unions in relation to co-payments, deductibles, and prescription benefits be allocated to the school department either through a vote at a special town meeting or at the October town meeting.
motion made by Mr. O'Leary, do I hear a second? Second by Mr. Harris.
Discussion,
Discussion.
discussion, that's not what I thought the motion was gonna be. I thought the motion is, we would go to a special town meeting or a town meeting and look at the possibility of allocating. No, I'm not saying I will allocate all that money to the school at this point. I may do it, but I am not gonna commit to that right now tonight, so I'd vote no on that motion. I'm willing to look at it, very seriously look at it and do it, but I'm not gonna commit to that motion tonight.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Amend the motion to say, to vote now on a special town meeting.
I'm not voting on a special town meeting. I said if it comes to, if we have a special town meeting, it would be included in it.
I'm not kidding.
If not, at the October town
I'm gonna
mean.
do it.
That's all. And then the money is to be,
I can't vote for that motion.
I
mean,
can't
you
either.
gotta- I certainly want to allocate the money to the schools, but to
Then what's
lock
it
in money
opposed
we
to?
don't have, it's the same kind of motions you made before.
No, it's not.
Lock in money we don't have and lock in the way.
no, but we're in the middle of negotiations, so if the negotiations are successful, all the motion is saying is that whatever realized savings there is will be allocated to the schools.
Instead of just putting it in the budget now and waiting, we put it in the budget
The
when it
original
happens.
motion was that you were gonna take it out 2/3 and a third. I mean, now all of a sudden,
Yeah, no,
Let's vote.
no, the original proposal,
problem.
which doesn't have a majority vote, I didn't make a motion, but the original proposal was to take it out right now, out of our budget.
I know, I can't
But there isn't a
agree.
majority here, so I haven't made a motion. So the motion that I've made is that whatever savings are realized through the negotiations will be earmarked for the schools, which is the same effect of what I was proposing before. Exact same effect.
So, if I could ask a question on the motion again, Mr. Chair. So in other words, Steve, if in fact, God knows what happens, we get some windfall on negotiation, and we get 300,000, you want to give it all to the schools without even considering replacing anything in the town.
And
I
looking at what we're
cannot vote
talking
for that.
about here, we need
I
$336,000
cannot-
in order to
I
get
cannot do that,
partway.
and that's wrong to
fine.
do that, Mike, to tie that
Again.
money up right now.
Pardon me? No, I don't,
Well, I'm just letting Mike.
we have an honest
Mike-
difference of opinion as to where our priorities and where our
What
first
if
dollars have to be
the
spent.
motion was amended to transfer to the school a sum up to the funding of phase 3, which is a real number?
What's the proposal?
Which
In other words, yeah,
which is the $336,000.
there's obviously
No,
some
I can't
concern
do
that
that.
if
No,
there
I
was
can't.
more savings,
This
that it
is-
should go to some other
If we said
functions
it was
other
two
than the
tonight.
school.
Nothing to do with
I don't think the number's gonna be that
No,
high.
I don't either.
I don't think it's gonna be that high, but, certainly would be fine with me.
I'm just trying to
Right.
provide some further comfort here. Well, any further discussion?
So we'd be tying, you know what, I actually don't have a problem with that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
that. No,
3-2. Okay, the next issue is the, getting down to confirmation of the override question, or can we remove it? I gather we don't have enough votes at this point to remove it.
I don't know.
I want to leave it there.
I'd like to leave it.
I hear two people saying they want to leave it.
I'd ask that, again, we just reconsider, take one more look at that list and say, is that really what we want to put forth for the general public's consumption and choice in relation to an override forever and a day? Is it appropriate to be asking for all of these things, if that's how we look at it? And I mean, to me, we basically have two items. You have the school budget, and you've got the trash fee, which are two pretty clear-cut choices for people. The rest of it, I mean, the Parks and Rec have taken an inordinate hit. There's no doubt about it. But I think it's incumbent upon us to try and work through that and see how much, see what the actual adverse effects are in relation to participation levels, cost